Hello YouTube, here with another pipe. Good God, ashed on me. Pipe video. We can keep from ashing on myself anymore. Well, in today's little video, I was just gonna tell you guys a story I thought was kind of funny. And Pipe Mentor, his most recent video reminded me of it, where he's talking about, well, he didn't, he mentioned bald eagles. And I thought, bald eagles, birds, you know, I've got a story about that. So, when I was in the Navy, and we're in port, we have seagulls and crows just all over the place. They're just everywhere. And I really hate seagulls, but stories about crows. So, a few of us are out at the smoke pit, smoking our cigarettes. And we see a little injured crow over, you know, probably 50 feet from us. And it's sitting there, and it'll occasionally, you know, bustle up and flap about for a minute, and it's not able to fly anywhere. And, you know, we have to walk by it to get back to the boat when we're done smoking, and everybody seems to be avoiding this bird a little bit. Probably because they're afraid of it, or because they respect the bird's life enough to not want to mess with it, potentially cause it any more harm. But posted just maybe 25 feet from that bird, from that crow, is another crow atop a light pole. And he's sitting up here watching his buddy who's injured, you know, below this big stand. Well, like I said, most of the people were pretty good to avoid this bird, except this one guy. He must have had the brain of a squirrel, because he was going to kick that bird. Don't know why, but he wanted to kick it. So he finished his cigarette, started walking back to the boat, and got maybe 10 feet from it, and he ran at it. Just full bore. And when he did this sentry crow flew down, and he had his cover on and everything. This bird flew down and ripped a huge chunk of this boy's hair out, just right out of there, and dropped it on the ground. And it kept circling him, and he took off. I mean, he took off with the boat real quick. And there was a chunk of his hair just sitting there on the ground. Well, it wasn't too long after that we saw him come off the boat and do a long circle around us as to avoid that menacing sentry crow. He had a big old chunk of hair missing out of his head where that bird got him. It was hilarious. Man, it was funny. He was sitting there lighting up a cigarette all shamefully like. But the look on his face when that bird came down and snatched his hair off his head, it was just hilarious. You see birds a lot down at the piers. We once saw this was when the baby seagulls are hatching on top of the roofs and stuff, and you get all those ugly fluffy birds, those ugly fluffy seagulls flying around out there. And I don't know what was happening exactly, but I was standing topside, standing watch one day, and I see this eagle, which they're not too uncommon down there. This eagle flying around. And usually when they get too close to the seagulls, all the seagulls kind of go in after them and run them off, but this eagle wasn't having it, no. He was flying around And I don't know what exactly happened, but somehow he managed to get him a full-grown seagull. They were fighting, I guess. But it was awesome. It was aerial warfare. I mean, everybody topside was enthralled. They were just staring up at it. My God, look at those birds. Well, you don't mess with eagles. Because when you do, just like this little seagull, you get torn in half. This seagull, or this eagle, took that bird and just kind of ripped it apart. You see its head go one way and some feathers and its body, or what looks like its body, and the rest of it go the other way, and just its entrails just floating down to the water. And everybody just kind of stood there, kind of stunned. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Brutal aerial warfare between birds. And a dude losing a chunk of his hair because he wanted to kick a poor helpless crow. Clearly it wasn't too helpless, it had a little buddy, but anyways, I figured I'd share that with you guys. Thought it was an interesting little bit. So, until next time.